Hi, I'm Moffett Churn, and I am a retired Presbyterian minister who has made myself at home at North Raleigh Presbyterian Church. One of the most continuous spirit feeding practices throughout my life has been gardening. Um, I have been fortunate enough to pastor three churches who tended gardens as a part of their ministry. One had a beautiful perennial garden that was a memorial garden where people could scatter ashes. Another had a community food growing garden, and another a pollinator garden that attracted bees. Um, because of this, I have just learned so much about tending my own growth by paying attention to the rhythms of the natural world. And because I love it so much, illustrations about gardening have made their way into a whole truckload of sermons. When the preacher of Ecclesiastes said, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven," I think he was preaching to the gardener in me. One of the reasons I love gardening so much is because it tethers me to the seasons. For the gardener, every season has a distinct set of tasks and rituals that have to be attended to. In the spring, there is all of the cleaning out of the beds and the preparation of the soil, not to mention the planning that goes into it. For me, my my garden is to me what a fresh canvas is to an artist, and so I do a lot of visualizing of what I want it to look like, and then I spend the whole long growing season uh, building building that vision until it comes into view. And then, of course, is the summertime is the time, the realm of pure growth. Uh, there's so much work to do in the summer, and that's why there's always dirt underneath my fingernails. Um, I am someone who likes to move plants around. If a plant doesn't seem happy in one place, I try to find the place where it can have the optimum chance and conditions to grow. And soil is such an important part of that. Making sure that the soil is what that particular plant needs. We're lucky enough to have really good dirt around here, but oftentimes, even so, I find that the soil has to be amended. And we also have to be sure that the plant gets to establish good sturdy tap roots, and that our watering habits are right, so that the roots will go deep and strong and be able to access those underground sources of water and nutrients. If we just do light watering, plants will always be reaching for the surface, and their tap roots will always be thirsty and won't be able to survive when the droughts come along. And also, during the summertime, we have to get so creative when it comes to meeting the challenge of pestilence, whether it's insects or fungus or the deer who are the constant marauders in our yard. Ted and I had to get really creative this summer because the deer population really multiplied due to the disappearing woodlands along Strickland Road with all of the development. So then comes the fall, and while I always hate to see summer end, it's just it's worth waiting and watching for the show that fall puts on. Fall is also a time to just sit back and cultivate delight and enjoy the fruits of all your hard labor during the spring and summer months, and to just to breathe in the breathtaking beauty of it all. And then there's winter, which I'm very much reminded of, having had our first real frost last night, when everything just seems to be dead, but everything is very much alive. It's just turning its attention inward and using its energy to build next season's seeds and blooms. Also, an important lesson for us to learn spiritually, that there are those seasons when we too need to turn inward and remember that we have to inhale as well as exhale. Weeding. I think for most gardeners, it's the bane of their existence, but I have to say that weeding and deadheading are some of the most satisfying things for me. Nothing feels better than to just yank out all of the things that are competing for nutrients and real estate with my plant population. And yet, when it comes to God's garden, I am reminded of the parable of the wheat and the tares, where the servants say to the master, "Do you want us to go out there and pull up all those weeds that someone sowed in your garden?" And the landowner says, "No, let them grow together until harvest time, and then we'll take care of it." It's such a reminder to all of us that it's not ours to decide who or what belongs or doesn't belong in God's garden. And it's not always hard to tell the wheat from the weeds. And it's also true that there are impulses toward good and tendencies toward wrong in every place and in every heart, including mine. Well, as you can see, I could just go on and on and on about how tending my garden feeds my spirit, but I'll leave you with some words from Isaiah. In Isaiah 58, "The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a well-watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters never fail." Thank you for listening. May the peace of Christ be with you. May the sun always shine on your garden, and may you find the things you need to cultivate delight in this and every season.